Hello, welcome to the talk show where your interest, growth, and success takes center stage. The focus always is you and how we can consistently serve you better. I'm Helen and I'm delighted all the time to be with you.
Yes, and we return this week with an incredible package loaded with life's lessons and nuggets serving as stepping stones to catapult you to that place of your dreams. It is, well, a
show for everyone.
A show for everyone who is hungry and hungry for success. That's what I mean. I remain yours truly, John and it's a pleasure to do this with you again right now.
All right, so the station is PlusTvAfrica and the program is Today with John and Helen Live. This week we share with you how rejection can provide for you the wings with which to fly. Also, if you are a startup entrepreneur struggling to get off your feet, we have solution to that obstacle holding you back.
We sure do. Those are teasers, Helen. Surely when we return from the break, we shall review more of the package that we have today, especially the must sticker with success tips for young entrepreneurs. Please do not change the channel because the life-changing experience for you has only just begun. I'll see you in a bit.
Believe me, we are determined to make a millionaire out of you in spite of the difficult business terrain that we find ourselves in at the moment. If you just tuned in, you are right on time to catch the fun. This is Today with John and Helen Live, and we're coming your way from PlusTvAfrica.
Yes, Dr. PJ, a leadership and self-expression coach, joins the show as we navigate finding your purpose and youth development for entrepreneurship.
And the story and experience of rejection over and over and the beauty of bouncing back is shared by Biodun Omolayo. We shall learn how he scaled through failure, so to speak.
And on the culture conversation today, Chizobam Ofebu and her guest will delight and dazzle us with the best of African, Nigerian fashion and speaking to the topic, economic benefits of sustainability in business. The twists and turns will come at the appropriate time just for your viewing pleasure.
I like that, the twist and turns. So time to take another break. Our first guest is already in the studio and ready to go, talking about Dr. PJ, as he is fondly called. Okay, director says we should go straight to the
director doesn't want us to take this break, so we'll go
just
straight.
1 minute, John.
Yes.
This past week has been very, very controversial, interesting, and what again? What word are you going to find? Intriguing. Okay, especially with the marriage of the 100 orphan ladies in faraway
and
Niger State.
We're all waiting to see how that's going to end.
Is
it going to be stopped?
Are you already in the? Because I heard that sometime last year in Kano, some slots, were allocated to journalists when the mass marriage also was organized.
Yes, some slots am I looking to taking one slot?
Yeah.
Well, you can give me about 2 slots. But quite seriously, it's something that a lot of people have frowned at, and I think we need to straighten things out in that regard. I mean, this is impoverishing these people further, because certainly they can't afford to get married. Even their spouses cannot afford to take wives.
Yep.
So rather than spend this money on education or other
Empower
things,
them.
you are now spending money to make them dig
deeper into poverty. As if marriage is all about the ceremony.
Yeah,
what happens afterwards is no longer interested. If I speak on this topic today, it will not be very...
We will not leave here.
Not be very pleasant, because what is happening to the girl child in Africa and in Nigeria particularly is something that is really, really, really bad.
We'll make it a topic for... We'll make
another
it a topic
day.
For
another day.
Yes.
All right,
Dr.
and
PJ is in the house.
And government says new minimum wage 48,000 naira.
Well, we'll see when it settles. When the dust settles, we'll know whether it's 48 or 98.
All right.
Let's let the dust settle.
All right.
On that.
Or 150. Yeah, that's the benchmark. Benchmark. Yeah.
So straight to the first business of the day, which is discovering your purpose, youth empowerment for entrepreneurship. Our guest, Dr. PJ, has worked and lived in 12 continents of the world, helping young businessmen and women grow in leaps and bounds. He is a leadership and expression coach for Landmark Education. As a youth founder and director
Co-founder
of ProudEducation.com, Dr. PJ is committed to building and supporting local organizations and individuals make real progress in education, killing youth development and artificial intelligence. Skilling, yes, I missed this. Guest volunteers for Rotary International in Lagos, in the area of fundraising, distribution of essentials, vaccine drive, and school, setup. It's time to hear from Dr. PJ himself, so let's quickly welcome him on the show.
And today, fortunately, I'm surrounded by 3 Rotarians. This one is in my face every week.
Yes.
And he is also a Rotarian. And the next guest for the show is also Rotarian.
It's no competition,
oh my goodness.
but we're taking over.
So good to have you join us on the show. We have been having this conversation for 1 week, so this is the time to let it all out. Thank you for coming.
Yes, Dr. PJ. You have lived, worked, and positively impacted young entrepreneurs from 12 countries. I wonder how you do that. It's amazing. It's good to be sharing the stage with you today, right? So we'll dive straight into the questions. Helen, I'll let you go first.
So let's start by explaining how AI and technology can play a pivotal role in empowering Nigerian youth.
Definitely. And first, thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here and to be able to speak directly to families and students who I'm very passionate about. So I think to take your question on what AI and technologies can impact our youth, I also want to flip the question on how our youth can impact AI and technologies. So I'll be answering both questions, but to go first with your question, I think essentially I look at these new technologies as just like a baby. We are in the very, very early stages of this technology, similarly to how we were at the time of internet around 20 years ago. So if you can look at this technology through the lens of just like a newborn baby, requires the hand holding while at the same time responsibility, then I think we can have a good, better conversation around it. Currently, these technologies are being very handy when it comes to assistance. So you can think of like a smart auntie who that you go to ask for trivial questions. I think they're able to do that today. They're also providing us in terms of how we should do work, because you can think of them as synthesizing the world information for you, and they're now accessible if you have a basic Android phone with even limited data. You have this power in your hand. Yes. So when it comes to education, I don't see an excuse why you cannot study. Yeah. Why you cannot ask the questions that you may have. So co-assistance, education, skilling, these are topics where they are coming in handy today. Okay. Now coming to the question of how the youth can impact these technologies. So we look at AI in 3 main frameworks, which is people, data, and infrastructure. Without these 3 elements, you actually cannot build these technologies. So when it comes to people, we know the population of Nigeria, and this is the future of the world. We are the fastest growing population, and hence these people and talent is what will actually drive and build these technologies. So if you don't take responsibility of building them, then they will not be built, unfortunately, to the level that we want them to be. The second is data. We are using our phones every day and we are generating the amount of data. So we are going to be contributing to the learnings of this AI. Yeah. We are already doing it at a very, very large scale. Yeah. And then finally, the infrastructure, where our governments have to come and support us to make sure that we have access. When it comes to data, we have a good internet connections, we have the right environments to study, but that infrastructure element is also very big on how we can impact these technologies. And I can tell you the world is looking at us to step up.
Certainly the world is looking at us.
To step up.
And as a matter of fact, I'm so happy that now we've been presented with yet another tool to improve ourselves, right? My question there, my worry there will be, are we ready? And what specific qualities do you think are essential for Nigerian youth to thrive in this field of the AI technology?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good question. So first and foremost is curiosity. I think curiosity, you need to be curious about these technologies rather than coming from a place of fear or place of replacement. The second I give recommendation is to get things done. No matter if it is a small thing or a big thing, you need to have a bias for action. So now that you know that you want to learn something, are you going to wait around for someone to provide you with a phone or with some matter to study? You can take an action today. You also want to be helpful. So if suppose you are you have recently graduated, you are in a new job, you can go to your boss and say that I have studied, my curiosity led me here, and I think I can help you get your job done faster through these technologies. And it is very highly appreciated at workplace if there are young people who want to get things done. Also, Obama has shared this multiple times on what he is looking into young people, is that attitude of getting things done. Finally, I think we need a very strong moral compass in terms of discipline and ethical. These technologies are like you can think of they are extreme technologies right now because they are so young. So you can be very much distracted by them. You can be led into wrong paths as well. And we are seeing that in terms of deep fake videos coming out, in terms of content being generated, which clearly are fake, but these technologies have the power to do it. But they are being created by us. We cannot blame the machine for creating them. There is a human behind every action.
There's a human behind every action,
Okay.
I like that.
That's awesome. All right. You talked so much about education, how much premium you place on education, and especially education for and by the younger ones. So how important is education in your in youth development for entrepreneurship, and what areas should young Nigerians focus on right now to become successful entrepreneurs?
I think it's a good question, thank you. So I think education in general, the earlier we can get our students or kids educated, the larger is the impact that they're going to have in the world. So catching them earlier is better than catching them late. That means even starting these technologies, introducing these technologies, parents play a big role in that, I think. Your communities play a big role, your church plays a big role, right? So if you can introduce these technologies at a younger age, it's much better than introducing them late. Then when it comes to taking up these technologies, because they're moving so fast, you really cannot pick up the hard skills. So for me, I focus more on the soft skills, which is where that if you can pick up that soft skills like, how can I communicate better? How can I work better with others? Very, very important skill, especially in a teamwork setting, learning from others. How can I be respectful to my mentors? How can I be respectful to my parents, my teachers? I think those kind of skills, if we are able to, curiosity, getting things done, bias for action, building trust, being honest. I think those skills, if we are able to bring them in education at early stages, along with with the new technologies, with the curriculum, then I think we can be at the forefront of these technologies.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, a lot of the fears or worries that we have are more perceived than real. So what do you think, in the mind of the Nigerian youth, what do you think would be his main challenge, real challenge, in entrepreneurship, and how can he overcome these things?
I think entrepreneurship is less about the fame, and when I don't actually tell people that I'm an entrepreneur, I say I'm a problem solver.
Okay.
So if you look at entrepreneurship more as a builder or a construction person, you're actually building the country. You're solving problems, and in the process, trying to make it sustainable through business. I think the biggest challenge that I face with working with young people around entrepreneurship is delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification.
And
Okay,
from
they
where?
want it. They want it now.
They want they want the rewards now, and the best example is in if you look at nature, you look at fruits, they don't come in a day. In fact, a farmer is actually why they're successful is because of delayed gratification.
He's patient.
Patient. You got to put the seeds in, you got to water them, you got to grow the plant.
Yeah.
You got to be really patient and care for it. And I think that is something that I'm struggling with in trying to get the message across that that by delaying your gratification, you're increasing your reward. And I think I don't blame them, because it's also the society, because we are in a stage where there is so much uncertainty, both coming at a macro economic level, but also at micro level, where there is a lot of uncertainty around how families are doing, how societies are working, and that that fear comes into young people. And then finally there is social media. We haven't done a good job in putting guardrails or rules around them. I travel in Europe, where there are much strict controls around data, around what information is accessed, your data sharing. So I think by social media brings a lot of distraction, which then there is a society impact happening where there is uncertainty, and because of that young people are only looking at today to get their rewards, which will be very tiny and maybe not be. But if you can delay your gratification by even a month, I'm not asking for a long time, you will have a very different result than getting a result today.
Wow.
Well, that is not so surprising, but I was looking at, financing, since you have constantly worked with, the younger ones in entrepreneurship. I was looking at, you talking or hoping that you would mention financing, money, and probably some cultural restrictions, that are peculiar to us as a people here. So obviously, this haven't been like key obstacles for entrepreneurs in Nigeria for you. They are not financing.
I think financing, like if you're working, if anyone is doing good work, I think they should not have issues with financing. But I'll give you an example. I do a lot of mentoring, and I think young people should look for mentors. It could be your uncle, it could be your aunt, it could be someone from your church, but someone that you can have a conversation honestly besides your immediate network. So I was having a conversation with a young entrepreneur in education, and I asked him that if today I give you the money that you need, what will you do with it? The first thing he said is, I'll build a nice office.
Oh my goodness.
And the second thing he said is, I'm going to market it very big. And I said, if you give me those two answers again to anyone else, then you will not get the money. Right? Yeah. So I think I told him
so there's a place to
it's
get
a safe
it right.
space. Yeah. So basically the focus should be on how you can utilize your funds to solve the problems faster and better. Okay. And the rest of the ecosystem of entrepreneurship, finance, admin, HR, marketing, sales, will all fall through if you have something really good. So for example, a good restaurant, people don't actually have to sell the good restaurant. Yeah. I worked at Amazon for almost a decade. We did not see a marketing team there. In fact, our office was 80% smaller because they said, let's save on the office rent. So these businesses are built because they are frugal, they focus on the core problem, that is solving the customer problem, and the rest of the things I've seen fall around.
I see you're itching to ask a question.
I'm itching to ask a question because you see AI, sometimes when you talk about AI and the youth and the future, I feel left out. Because, for instance, something as basic as ChatGPT, I find it like it's like my companion now. Yes. So much that if you ask me anything, the first port of call for me is my ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it's not just for writing stuff, it's for creating stuff. So now, what do you see as the future of the youth? Because now I see myself more like behaving like the youth, because this is a very lovely toy that we've been presented with. How do you see the future, in entrepreneurship with AI generally?
Okay, I think in general it has actually increased my productivity sometimes 100x. So I can give you an example. I do not know coding language. I'm not an engineer by profession, but I've been in this industry for a while, and I was doing a task which took me almost like 100 minutes, and I asked myself this question, like, there should be a better way around it, and I asked AI, ChatGPT, on how can I, reduce my time of this task. It actually taught me a language called Python. It's a computer language. I've always been like, I'm too late for this. I'll try to work with young people who are much faster than me. But then, it's not easy to always go and find, recruit, and get the talent. So I asked AI, can you teach me? So normally a 20-day course that took 20 days, they taught me in 2 days. And I was able to do the task which took me 100 minutes in 1 minute.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to do 100 minutes every week because it's a weekly task for me. So my productivity has gone high. And I think entrepreneurs are basically, I think of them as like firefighters initially, because the situation is so bad when they come in. And these tools will help them focus on, firefighting versus, doing other things, and actually supercharge their productivity, and at all levels. And I think it's never late to learn now.
It's never
and it's never a better time to learn.
Okay.
Well, I hope it doesn't get us lazy.
Not.
It won't.
You can actually tell it to not make you lazy, and it will tell you what to do.
Exactly.
I think we have more control of the steering wheel.
Yeah, that's right.
And we can decide to let go of it, or actually, drive it faster.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so as we get ready to wind up this conversation, very interesting it has been. I see your love and your passion for the girl child too. There's some special things you do almost on a weekly basis, and I'd like to find out why. And lastly, talk to us about your observation, the Nigerian young entrepreneur, and those of the 12 continents of the world that you have lived and worked.
12
Yeah.
countries.
Any different?
Yeah, so I think I get almost every day young people asking me, how can I, do Japa? We have a company as well which helps students to, go abroad and find scholarships. However, my passion, and I keep telling them, like, my Japa is actually here.
Your Japa is here.
Yeah. I have come to Nigeria because I do feel this is a better place for me to work, and the people are the best in the world.
Yeah.
So I went to these places to get and learn the best, practices, leadership. I think I highly encourage young people to learn from better than them.
Yeah.
They say that you are a representation of 5 people around you. So you need to find those 5 people who are better than you, who are doing something, trying to make this place a better place. And I think with them you will go forward. And I do think that Nigeria is the richest country for me, and the reason I'm here.
Okay. All right.
And then finally on the girl child, it's a very passionate project for me. So every weekend we are distributing sanitary pads. It's called a Saki project. It's driven by the Rotary Club, and we go into schools and we distribute them.
Okay, and I'm sure you don't just give them sanitary towels. You also
we also distribute medicines. We distribute like cosmetic stuff as well, books, sometimes clothes. Basically, we do these charity drives. Medicines, very common as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely happy to
Thank
hear
you
that.
so much. Well, finding purpose surely is critical to business success. You have heard it all. We appreciate your time today on the show and your insight.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Very great job you've done.
Thank you.
Within such a short period, I hope we'll have you again. Entrepreneurship is the way to go, and the youth need all the help they can get to make that business statement. Thanks so much, Dr. PJ, for your time.
All right. One down, 2 more to go, plus loads of valuable information. Coming up next is the segment that proudly celebrates all that we are as Africans and Nigerians. Chizobam Ofebu is our guide on the Culture Conversation segment, and today she has a wonderful guest with her. Let's join Chizoba and her guest right now.